Hey, welcome back to the tavern. It's Monday morning. We're glad to be here. We got a lot of great things to talk about today. We're going to talk about what we did last year.
And what we're going to do next year.
And what we're going to do this year. This year.
Not next
year. What our goals and ambitions are. Sound good?
Yes.
So before we get going, let's stand for our Pledge of Allegiance, as we always do.
That's right.
1, 2, 3.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Hope you join us at home.
Yep. No prayers today. Maybe a moment of silence if you'd like for the year that just passed.
That sounds good. Let's do that.
All right.
A moment of silence.
How long is a moment?
That's good.
Okay.
That's good right there.
All right.
Whatever you gave thanks for. It was a pretty rough year last year for all of us. Actually, the last 18 months have been pretty crappy for all of us.
Yeah, right.
But we'll get there.
Yeah.
You know, we'll get there. So we started our podcast March.
Well,
March.
when did we start the group before the podcast?
I think it was March.
We started the group then too? Because I know we started the group and then we started the podcast right away. But yeah, so the podcast started in March. Middle of March, I believe.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So United States Constitutional Group. We started it for a very specific reason. So you want to let everybody know what that reason was?
Yeah, we started that. Me and Dennis work at the same place. We work for a security company. And for myself...
That's what we do?
Yeah, well, I show up. So I've been here. I've only been working at that company...
About a year and a half.
Oh yeah, August was a year. Yeah, about a year and a half. So before that, I've been down in South Carolina for about 7 years, and I was joining all of these Republican parties, and they were just, oh man, they were terrible. Some of them were just outright corrupt, like on their elections and stuff like that. So I kind of backed away from a lot of that stuff, and then I started talking with Dennis. We're a little like-minded, and you know, he found himself doing the same thing, and we were like, hey, why don't we start our own thing? And so we did. We started the United States Constitutional Group. We didn't want to call it a club or anything like that. So right away, we were a little different. And we started doing it. We didn't know what we were doing, which is the theme of us. We really don't know what we're doing on certain things.
We know one thing, we're fed up with politics.
We just do it anyway.
Fed up with politics, we know that.
Which was part of the change too, because when we first started, that was United States Constitutional Group, USC, whatever it was, like, but it was the same as the Coast Guard. So every time you put it in,
Coast Guard came
you get all the Coast Guard stuff. So Dennis said, listen, we got to do something else. So we did fedupwithpolitics.com to get to our webpage, which Dennis set up. That's another thing. We didn't know how to do that. Dennis set up a web page, which is at fedupwithpolitics.com. He set up a email, which is, what is it, USCG
20211 at AOL.com.
Right.
I need to check it more.
So he did that. That was what it originally looked like. And then we were like, well, how are we going to blast this out of the water? So we said, hey, let's make a podcast.
I'm still uncomfortable doing these.
Well, we do them anyway. When we first started, it was just audio. We didn't know how to do YouTube. So Dennis set up this whole thing on Spreaker, Spreaker.
Yep, Spreaker.
And came out real nice. We did a whole bunch of them like that. And then
They were long in the beginning.
Yeah, they were very long.
But now we're keeping them under 45 minutes.
Most times. I mean, it was
Unless
like
Jack
forever.
Blathers on.
It was like 90 minutes sometimes. My sister would call up and be like, hey, you might want to shorten that up. My brother Tommy in Georgia, he was like, yeah, listen to it. I'm not no more. Because nobody had enough time in the day to listen to us drone on and on and on.
A lot of information we passed on.
By the way, I got these new glasses. My son Brandon gave them to me for Christmas. In Congress, July 4th, 1776. United States. The Declaration of Independence of the United States. Nice little mugs, glasses. But so anyway, then we started, later on we had a meeting with the Republican Party. And they were like, listen, you should do video. People like that better. So Dennis figured out how to do YouTube, and here we are. Then all of a sudden...
Actually, Sean Patrick figured out the YouTube better than we did.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, it's been going on for a long time. Sean Patrick got it under the right name. Thank you. Sean Patrick likes to be known as Sean. So...
Okay, fine. You win.
It's okay.
But, and then we decided, you know what? As we started getting involved in all of this, we said, these politicians are really horrible. So we said, you know what? They're at an impasse. Let's get our own party going. And now we're introducing, sometime this year, pretty soon, very soon, we got the basis of our platform, but we're going to introduce the Independent Constitutional Party.
And we're going to be on live here soon.
Yeah, we're going to go live.
Go live.
So we'll get the Independent Constitutional Party going. We got the forms I've been making copies of. We got to get 10,000 signatures to get on state ballots.
We'll talk about that in a little while.
We're not going to do any federal races this year. I don't know if we're going to get into any races this year. We might have to wait until next year. If something pops up, we can try and get into.
My goal is 2024.
Yeah, I think if we get a few races that are statewide, that somebody retires or whatever, we could do a little practice run and see how we could do on that. But we got our
We're going to try local politics.
We got our base core platform right here, and we're going to make it more layman's terms in there and more explanation. And it should be a type of platform that should last over years and years and years with very minimal changes to it, because it's just bad policy that's been out there for decades that needs to be changed. And then once we cross that bridge, we'll go to the next things. Because you know what? That's what the founding fathers want. A more perfect union. And you can never stop working on a more perfect union. So, we got to get some heavy lifting done. We got to get big changes done in government. And then after that's done, we should have a generation of very peaceful governing and tweaking out and getting a more perfect union.
You got to remember, all politics is local. It starts at your school boards. It starts at your municipal level. When you start taking them over, we'll make some good changes. And just take some time.
Yes.
Bear with us. We have I think we have a good vision.
Yeah.
We just need patriots.
Patriots, and we're going to be very dedicated this year. You and I. We'll be ready. We're here for the task. Dennis is in a relationship. He's got some nice backing now. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. She's a good
My
girl.
wife is always supporting in everything I do. I don't know how she didn't turn into a maniac yet after over 30 years together. But she stands there and supports. Thank you.
Yes, Messi. Thank you for dealing with him.
Yeah, as my kids will testify, sometimes that's not easy to do.
So our group was started, we wanted to educate.
Mm.
And we slacked off on that a little bit because we have so much going on. And we're looking for people that want to help us, like Anthony, Margaret, James, Angela.
I have to talk
Sean,
to Mr. Lovell. Mr. Lovell,
Mr.
man, he is...
What's her name there, Julie?
Yes, I gotta get in touch with Julie. My brother said he'll do Facebook in Georgia. I just gotta get him in touch with my sister so they can figure out how they're gonna do that.
You know, but Junior didn't shave today. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, well,
You know,
even if he did or he didn't, he'll tell you he did.
he's one of those, huh?
Yeah, he shaves like this.
The circular motion. And that's with a straight blade.
Yeah, Jack has never shaved with a blade next to his face.
Got something to
That's
say?
the cap on it.
Yeah.
You leave the cap on it?
Jerks.
Mike's been sick. Mike's been
Mike's
sick since the first day of this year, but I told him to go to the doctor. He's okay though. He says he just has a cold, so I don't know. I never heard of a cold that keeps you in bed for 9 days. So get better, Mike.
It used to be called the Adirondack flu back in New York.
Yeah.
And when you had that in the summertime, so you could go to the beach.
So we need my brother to start feeling better. So get better, Mike.
But we need help.
Yes.
Help. Jack and I, Sean, Junior, Margaret, Anthony, James, Angela. We need more help.
I tell you what, though, the list is getting longer. Because when we started, it was, we need help. It's just us. Now we got a good handful.
Small group.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's starting to roll.
So, what are our plans for this year? Let's go with that.
Well, my first plan is, I got two big plans for me. One is I would like to finish this platform. So it's done. I'm going to get some input from you and Margaret, and I'll complete that, and then we'll send it out to everybody else, all the names you just named, see what they think and get more input, and then we'll decide what's going to go in there, you and I, and what's not. And then we'll get it out there. We'll put it on the Independent Constitutional Party's website. We'll start making some meetings with certain local folks that have the know-how, the connections, and the people to get our 10,000 signatures together so we can get on some state ballots, because we have to do that. That would be another step we have to do. In the interim of all of that, I am going to get back to working on our book. I know you guys haven't heard that in a long time. Dennis did his side of the book, and I have not. I got maybe 25 pages done.
That's a lot.
But, so I'm going to get back on that. And in the interim of all of that, since I live in a resort and I have a wonderful family, I'm also going to wedge in enjoying my life, because it's a pretty good life.
It is.
And continue to do this podcast and point out the injustices, some tyrannical stuff that the government just continues to do. And these people don't even realize that they don't know what they're doing. I mean, I didn't go through it verbatim like I told you I was going to. But the speech that, oh, that's right too, I wanted to say Happy New Year to everybody. This is our first podcast for the new year. It's January, second week in January. And I hope everybody had a healthy, happy holiday season. You know, Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year, and anything else you celebrate.
I had a great holiday. I was able to go down to Florida to see my mom. Saw my daughters, a couple of them. Saw my grandkids.
Nice.
I got to spend it with Lisa, which is a miracle so far.
All right. Yeah, we had good. I had a good. It was nice. It was really nice. Margaret was supposed to come down, see my dad. She didn't get a chance to. Everybody in her family had gotten sick. She didn't want to come down and see my dad get him sick. So maybe in another couple of weeks she'll be down. But so Happy New Year to everybody. I hope everybody had a great holiday. And yeah, so I plan on enjoying my life, doing those things, doing this podcast. Oh, Joe Biden. Yeah, you know, these guys, Joe Biden's been in their office, like I said, plenty of times since I was 3-4 years old. And he makes a speech, 20-minute speech on January 6th, and it says right there, all Americans are created equal. They don't even read the Declaration of it's all people. All people are created equal. That means worldwide. There's no borders on that. Everybody is considered equal. And I'd like to go through that speech he did on January 2nd, like I did his State of the Union last year.
Yeah.
You know,
I was in Florida, he did that.
Yeah, because I know there's been a lot of things that he said, even in that 20 minutes, that shows his. First off, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know anything about our American history, and he doesn't care to know. I mean, this man is leading your country. He's the executive CEO of this entire free world, and he doesn't even know the first document written from this country. Listen, there's the problem. That's why we got to start a third party. I tell you, I could beat any one of these politicians in a debate just because they don't know the 36 pages that are supposed to be governing this country through the Constitution of the United States and the amendments.
Our platform just mentions the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution.
Yeah.
We're going to rule off of that.
Yes.
So that's where we're going to get our guidance from. That is what this country was founded of. We had strong principles, and we're not going to get away from them like these other parties are. But what really annoys me is each president, Biden blamed Trump. Trump blamed Obama. Obama blamed Bush. Bush blamed Clinton. Clinton blamed Bush.
Bush didn't blame Reagan because he owed that guy his job.
He did.
Reagan did such a great job.
But our party was created for people who are fed up with politics.
Yeah.
I know we're all tired. I'm tired, Jack's tired, Junior's tired, Sean's tired, everyone's tired. But you know what? We know you're tired too. And it's time we got to put an end to it. I didn't see his speech on January 6th, but you need to stop blaming other parties and take responsibility for while you're in the majority. Our party, we're not going to blame the other parties because they've taken this country as far as they can. They hit a roadblock. There's no going around it anymore.
Well, our party doesn't have to blame the other two parties because it's obvious. Whose fault is it? The other two parties.
Well,
they're the only ones that were there.
It's our fault too.
Well, it's the constituents' fault for leaving them in there. We didn't vote them in. We just left them. But you know what? No, it isn't. Because now, again, I mean, I'm from New York, so I always got to use New York example. And there's other states that are doing the same idiotic stuff. So, New York City votes in a district attorney that was backed by George Soros again. We're allowed to say George Soros' name again. Remember when that was like a 4-letter word. You weren't allowed to say that in public. But since they got all three branches of government and most of the district attorneys in all the blue states, you're allowed to say George Soros again. So this guy is backed by George Soros. George Soros pays for his campaign, and he gets elected. So the people of Manhattan, again, vote a George Soros district attorney. Instantaneously, this guy says, I'm not going to take any of these crimes into court. Which, whatever, okay, blah, 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 blah. They all seem insignificant and small at the time, except for one. Resisting arrest and interfering in an arrest process. He's not going to prosecute any of them. So how are these cops... So if you're a bad guy, and you have just gotten caught doing a horrific crime, whatever the felony is, let's say it's a sex crime on the streets, the cop sees it, he runs over there, he tries to lock you up, you will resist, and you run away. What's the police officer supposed to do?
Today, let him go.
I mean, does this district attorney want sanitation workers instead of cops? Just wait for the crime to get over and go over there and clean the mess up? If you're not going to be able to charge this man with resisting arrest, what criminal is ever going to just, okie dokie, let me put my hands behind? No, you're going to fight to get away from this guy because you're not going to get charged with it anyway. It's like betting with the house money. Let me go, let it roll. So, here's the thing though, here's the kicker, all right? Who was one of the first people that supported this new district attorney's policy?
The mayor.
The new mayor, who was a captain on the New York City Police Department, who, the people of New York City, the 5 boroughs, voted in another Democrat. If you would have done your due diligence, you would have seen this man was a captain on the New York City Police Department. Very, very good, very intelligent man. There is nothing dumb about this guy. And that's all I got to say about that. But his entire career on the NYPD, he was in the mayor's office complaining about law enforcement policy. So now this guy is now the mayor. He's in charge of all of this. Yeah, he said he's going to bring the anti-crime. But what good is the anti-crime if you can't do anything about it? If it's hands off. So basically, with this new mayor that you voted in, and this new DA that you voted in, policing is a spectator sport. Sit back and watch. When somebody calls you in, grab your lunch, grab your dinner, then respond, clean up the mess, move on to the next one. And New York City, the constituent in New York City is so lazy and so ignorant. They continue to vote these people in. Listen, whatever happens in New York City, you deserve it. At this point, you got AOC in there, you got Nadler in there, you got Schumer in there, you got Hildebrand in there. Now you had Cuomo in there. Now you got his lieutenant governor in there. You had Cuomo in there twice. You had de Blasio in there twice. Now you got this DA in there. Now you got this new mayor in there that fought his entire career in City Hall against police work. His entire time as a cop was, you people in City Hall are racist and you're beating up your black neighborhoods. Listen, we said it once, we said it 1,000 times. You want to get rid of white supremacy? Clean out Washington, D.C. Because I don't care what color you are, what race you are in Washington, D.C., you're a supremacist. Because you're suppressing everybody in this country. Get the hell out of Washington, D.C. Constituents, educate yourself. Why are you putting yourselves through this? New York City is in a matter of a few years going right back to what it was when I got on that job. There was 2,200 homicides a year. It's going back to Gotham. Homelessness, legalized drugs, now resisting arrest, no bail.
Well, just like California.
I mean, wait, good luck. I'm glad I'm down here, folks. So that's my rant for why we need a new party, why we need the constituents to understand what these 36 pages mean.
Well, we need a new party because these two parties now only want to divide the people.
Yeah, well,
They don't care.
They
only care about what they make. They don't care about you. They don't care about us.
No.
They don't care about anybody but themselves.
They're one party passing tyrannical laws.
They're all the same. Democrats and Republicans today, there's no difference between them.
You look at every one of these Republicans that are beating up Biden over all his policies over COVID. But I bet you 100% of the Republicans in Washington, D.C. right now have a family member that's invested in Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, and the other one. What's the other one?
Moderna.
Moderna. 100%. These people in 2019, probably November of 2019, 20. Yeah, no, December. Yeah, by December of 19, they started telling their family, hey, look out for these three things. They're going to be going, just like Pelosi's husband invested in Tesla, because, I mean, they bought it, I think the stock was like $800. Biden said, listen, we're going to make all government vehicles electric, and his stock went up to 800. So Pelosi's husband made hundreds of millions of dollars in that stock, and you know, that's what we have to do. What we have to do is get profiteering, and yes, people, I said profiteering, the same word you would use for mafias and other criminal agencies. Get the profiteering out of politics. Get profiteering out of Washington, D.C. Term limits will be passed, bureaucracies will be halted, everything will come back to normal.
It's pretty sad, all these politicians that are so damn corrupt. And they do it right in front of our faces.
Yeah, they don't even hide anymore.
They don't.
They used to hide out by the oak tree, you know. I'll talk to you later over there. Now they do it right on the news because the news. You know, that's another thing too. I was thinking.
That's why we need an independent news agency.
Yeah, you know, I think.
Man, if I had the money, I would start an independent news agency. Get back to investigative journalism. Get back to everyone doing their job and getting to the bottom. I'm not gonna swear this year.
Yeah, I am.
I'm not. Get to the bottom of what these politicians do, because every single one of them is corrupt.
Yeah,
There's a few good ones now and then.
Yeah, but you want to know, even the good ones,
they're corrupt.
their family members are invested in the legislation that they're passing.
Yep.
That can't be. Listen, if you're in Congress and you're legislating on anything, whatever's going through Congress that year, anybody that's in Congress, and I'm talking staff members all the way through the whole thing, you and your family can't invest on what's being legislated that year. Because that's insider trading. And the both of you should be indicted for it. Or at least charged with it. You should be charged with it. And And yeah, that's what it is. It's just insider trading. You can't call a family member up and say, here's 10 grand of my money, go invest on this. I'm about to vote on it tomorrow. And then the next day it comes out and you and your family member are super wealthy because you're doing insider trading. That's not fair. Your wealth, when you get into office, should be put into a special bank account that receives the same amount of interest or lack of interest or loss that the stock market does. But anyway, I'm leaking out all of our stuff on the platform. We need to do that on a live thing.
Yeah.
But the constituents have to smarten up. You got to stop voting these people in. New York City's in a lot of trouble. There's a guy running for governor. He was an Army veteran, CEO of a big company, and he's running for governor for Minnesota. I'll get his name. But people in Minnesota start looking at this guy. See what's done. He's a combat veteran. He's not just a veteran. He's a combat veteran. So, this guy's a combat veteran that's lived holy shit days. Hope I get home. He did come home and became, a successful CEO for a major company. And his, the state that he's in, Minnesota, is in a lot of trouble. That governor is a maniac. They need to find somebody to replace the one in Michigan, Illinois. I mean, look what's going on in Chicago. How are these teachers unions? First off, these teachers unions, these schools got $1 trillion in COVID aid to correct this.
Nothing's been corrected.
And nothing's been corrected, and now Chicago's saying, we're not coming to work until you give us more money.
But they're still wanting to teach the critical race theory.
Yeah, I want my money back from Chicago School District on that $1 trillion. Because they're supposed to be, California too. And this what makes me laugh, because you watch the experts on the news. In Virginia, they got the new governor and the House, and they got a very good lieutenant governor.
DA.
They made a lot of different, the DA, they made a lot of great changes in Virginia. So the experts on TV going, see, we told you this is what's going on. Well, you didn't, because look what's going on in New York City. Look what happened in California when Newsom was supposed to get, when they recalled Newsom. Not one Republican went there and helped that other guy, Larry
Elder.
You had a black Republican that was getting eggs thrown at him with a woman wearing a gorilla face and not a peep. So, yeah, congratulations to Virginia. The constituents woke up there. They realized things. Now, what has to happen is we got to find somebody in Virginia to open up a Facebook over there and continue to push the people of Virginia to continue to educate yourself now. Really read the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States, the amendments, the Anti-Federalist Papers, the Federalist Papers, the Founders' Keys, this book over
here. If we can
here.
reach one person a day, we're doing our job to look at the Declaration of Independence. And what really gets me? Get a lot of good feedback on Facebook. Under our United Nations piece, I probably got like 15 comments on it when I put it up on my Facebook one. And I invite all these other groups to look at it. Get a lot of great feedback. But the thing is, they don't want to get involved because they're scared.
Well, how could they not be? I mean, look what's going on. There's a story, I don't know if it's true or not, but I had heard a story of a family in Colorado had went to a school board meeting and they made a ruckus. Not a violent ruckus, but they demanded answers. And it ruffled everybody's feathers. So the Department of Justice, the Attorney General of the United States, put out an amendment out there. Any of these parents that do this at any of these school boards, they're terrorists. They're white supremacists. They are evil. We must squash them. Well, the FBI, 8 FBI agents, according to the report, broke into their house, took all of the electronics with their kids there, cuffed their parents, brought them outside, armed FBI in the morning on a weekend, took all of their stuff out. The local sheriff knew about it, never tried to protect that family on this assault from the FBI. Again, the FBI is not the FBI, it's the KGB. The FBI, from top to bottom, Every FBI agent out there, you should be ashamed of yourself. Resign. Find another law enforcement agency, because what you're following...
Don't even work in law enforcement.
Yeah, I mean, and you're despicable. You're allowing this? Those 8 FBI agents? I'm sorry, I'm not kicking in some lady's front door and taking her computers and cell phones because she went to a Board of Education meeting.
Under her First Amendment rights.
Yeah. Holy mackerel. Shame on the KGB.
That should show everyone that they're coming after us. They're coming
Yeah.
after our rights. They're coming after every single right we have under the Constitution. And unless we stand up, get together, it's going to be over before we know it.
Yeah, I saw that on a regular news channel, this lady saying what happened. And if it's true, again, we don't have staff. I'm watching the news, and it was a right-sided leaning news agency. I'll admit that. And that's why I'd like to know.
I don't watch the news anymore.
But, you know, listen, if this is what's going on in the United States, we know what's going on with the power. You know, if you're a right-leaning type of person, I mean, look what happened to Trump and anybody that's around him. Right, wrong, or a difference. What the KGB's doing to those people, man, I tell you what, Putin is proud of our KGB, because our KGB's doing a better job than Russia's. Shame on you guys. You should hide. Don't tell anybody what you do for a living. Tell them you're a janitor.
So you can't be scared to get involved.
But they are. Because they're getting, I mean, that's a lot. How do you take that?
Yeah, I know, I understand that. But
I mean, I had one guy tell it to me. You saw that email I got.
yeah.
That guy just didn't realize what I did for a living. So I got him, his address, his P.O. box, and his family members. I know where everything is. I got it written down, so if anything happens to me, we know where to go get that guy.
Right.
He's from Kentucky.
Life's gonna be rich.
He's from... You think I forgot about that email, pal? But anyway, people are scared, you know?
They are. But if we don't... Listen, our party's not gonna be for everybody.
No.
You know, our platform is simple. It's not 100 pages like the Democratic, or 60 pages like the Republican one, maybe one.
Well, it's going to be
You
few,
know,
yeah.
The constitutional parties that we've looked at, I mean, they're like, what, 50, 60 pages?
We might be close to that by the time we're done, but you're going to understand it. What the difference, you know what, Dennis? I don't know, you tell me.
The difference is we're going to go by the Constitution.
Right, so ours is not going to change at every election.
Right.
There'll be a few injustices that we have to change and keep up with.
It's not a wish list.
Right.
It's something we plan to work out every day.
It's the way it's supposed to be done. So,
I don't think our injustices will ever change.
But when we get into power, it will.
The Declaration of Independence, you know, they had their injustices at their time. This is the injustice we feel at our time. You know.
Well, if we can get in there, and that's something we'll
explain. There's always ways to improve.
And that goes back to what the founding fathers said. We are going to continue to strive for a more perfect union. And
we can't accomplish that with what we have now. We
can't do anything right now. The only thing we can do now is try and stay away from. Everybody says
get away from these freaking millionaires that want to be politicians.
But the people,
but that's what we think. It's like people think it's, oh, they're millionaires, so they got to be. They must know more than I do.
But even the other ones that aren't millionaires, there are people that go in there that aren't millionaires. They come out as millionaires.
Yep.
Because they're doing insider trading. They're getting kickbacks. Listen, I don't know exactly how it works. I'm not privy to that. I'm naive and I'm very ignorant on the way of Washington, D.C. But there's no way you could tell me that a guy that goes in there making an average means of $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year and he comes out...
$175,000.
Then he gets voted in, they make $174,000 and 10 years later they leave office and they're worth millions. How did that happen? By nothing legal. Miss Margaret wants you to stop playing with your phone.
I can't.
Yeah,
sorry, Margaret. That was going off.
Yeah. She goes, Dennis has to stop playing with his phone.
You are so mean to us.
Yeah. Well, no more playing.
No more playing my phone. Sorry, Margaret.
But, so, there's... But that's what we got to do. We got to get the profiteering out of there. If we can get the profiteering out of there, then you're going to have true politicians going in, number one. And number two, they'll be willing to put term limits on it. And I tell you what, if you can get that kind of politician that's going to go there and work and get their salary and come back home,
and
That's-
live
that's-
under the laws they make.
Yeah,
It'd be different.
that's the person you want back in your neighborhood. Because I tell you what, if they were exceptional in government, they're gonna be even greater at home. And you want that person back home. You don't want them staying there. Like a Jim Jordan, he's very good.
That'd be great community.
I mean, look at what
services.
happened with Ron DeSantis. You know, that guy was a very good politician in Washington, D.C. He came back home. He's the governor. Look what he's doing. You want these people back home. Bring them back home. They should want to come back home. I don't know why they want to stay up there. It is the devil's den up there. I mean, it is just riddled with corruption. And that's why the founding fathers said, politics is the lowest form of government employment you can get.
Yeah, people do their thing and get out.
Get out.
Because it was really terrible. But hey, it's everything. Like everything else, everything changes. And once you get a piece of that power, now they want this much.
Well, and you want to know what it is too, Dennis? You like, how can you do that? How can you do this? They're not getting a payoff of $100. They're not getting a tip of, get a couple of sandwiches for you and your buddies. This is generational difference in money. They are instantaneously turning wealthy. And human nature is,
I want more.
I want more, and I can't say no. And that's why you need to get the profiteering out of there. You got to get the special interest out of there. You got to get the bureaucracies out of there, and you got to get term limits in there.
I would say most of America lives paycheck to paycheck.
Barely.
Barely.
And it's getting worse
with
now.
inflation today, there's some things in our economy that have gone up 100%. 100% in a year.
And again,
Went out to eat for lunch yesterday. So Lisa wanted to go out, so yeah, let's go out. So plus she bought. Thank you.
wow.
Yeah.
If I didn't know that, I wouldn't have bought breakfast.
This was a keeper. So it was $30 at, where'd we go? Old Country Buffet or Golden Corral. And that was with a military discount. $30. $15 per person for a lunch. That is outrageous.
Gas is, look what, my electric bill's going. I can see the difference in my electric bill from this year to this year. It's not a big difference because they like electric.
Yeah.
But it's still up close to 7% from last year.
See the price of food?
Food is ridiculous.
Oh
Gas
my
is even
God.
more ridiculous. Gas is almost 50% higher.
It's nuts. Price of chicken wings are just as much as the price of steak, and steak's like almost $20.
Chicken wings are expensive. Sean Patrick bought 30 of them yesterday for us.
$46.
$46
30 of them.
for 30. Oh my
With
god.
3 blue cheese dipping sauces.
Oh my god.
They were cooked already, but still.
And there's a cooking fee involved.
Yeah.
$46 for us.
Yeah, $46. I sent them with a.
My haircut was $27 with the military discount.
I'll give you a new place. Charges like 13.
I don't know. It's a nice haircut. I don't know if it. Well, 20. You know what? They had to do his beard too.
But hey, if you can afford these price increases and eat into your savings, hey, good for you. Most of the world can't. Most of this country cannot sustain what is going on. We need good policies that bring jobs, energy independence, and just a sense
America
of excitement.
first.
A sense of excitement back to America, because no one's excited right now. I know I'm not.
Wow.
Just it's crazy. You can't do anything. When you have to sit in your house and not take a vacation or not be able to go out to eat, I'm fortunate. I can do that. But people can't. A family of 4, family of 6, they can't go out. They got to eat at McDonald's. We take their kids out. Hey, let's go to McDonald's. Which is nothing wrong with McDonald's. I love McDonald's. But I'm saying, you want to take your kids. You want your kids to do better than you do. When you can't take them out places, you can't take them on vacation. You can't take them to that water park. It hurts. It hurts a family. So we've got to start getting excited about America and bring down the cost of everything. Trump wasn't presidential to me. He had a lot of problems. He was a big bully. But we needed that. But you know what? He had great policies. Great policies that were for America first. Why rely on foreign nations for our oil when we have energy dependence? We have natural resources right here in this country.
Got 5 minutes.
Damn, that went by quick.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, since we're all just about out of time, let's go to Jack for his final statements.
Final statement. You know, Trump is a perfect example of a saying that was years ago by one of our founding fathers. Would you rather be ruled by a great leader or by laws? Trump was a good leader. You know, he knew what he wanted.
He just wasn't presidential to me.
But you know what? That's because he wasn't a politician.
Right.
And we didn't need a politician at that time. We don't need a politician now. We need a smart.
We need a leader.
Right. We need a guy that understands
That the
what
people
country, you know, that's proud to be an American. And you know, every day the mainstream press, the big tech, all our politicians, local, they talk terrible about America. Like America is like a 4-letter word.
Yeah,
You know,
AOC, Tlaib.
all of them, every single one of them. Mitt Romney, McConnell, on both sides of the aisle. They do not like American policy because we're standing in their way of making all the money. What they don't realize is, you know, everybody says that they want a socialist country. They don't want socialism. They want fascism. Because they want privately owned companies to do the government's work that they're not allowed to do because it's against the law. And that, folks, is called fascism. Careful what you wish for, though, folks, because the ones in Washington, D.C. are the first ones to get killed when fascism comes in, because whoever takes the lead gets rid of their competition, brings all new people in. And then they get real paranoid and they start killing everybody, and they leave by themselves and everything fails. If you need proof of that, read a World War II book. That'll show you what happens to fascism. You want to know what happens to socialism? Look at Cuba, look at Venezuela. You want to know what happens to communism? Look at Russia. China's on the upgrade right now because they got America in the back pocket because the Biden family sold America out for $1.5 billion. But when America gets back up on their feet and they start fighting China back economically, China's going to collapse. Communism cannot keep up with capitalism. So if you want to know what happens to fascism, if you want to know what happens to communism, and you want to know what happens to socialism, it's all out there. We know what happens. This is not like the turn of the century when Marxist finally wrote his first book and people were just finally introduced into socialism. We know it fails. Read, educate yourself, understand why it doesn't work. See where it's going to fail, see what it's going to cost you, see what's going to cost your family. You know, we talk about Alinsky. Education is a big thing into socialism and fascism. Anybody like what's going on in the education system today? I don't know. Maybe ask yourself, what's going on in this country? Chicago and California, reading and writing is under 50%. The kids they're 49%. Math and science is down to 33%. I mean, education, get rid of education is a big, big thing in socialism. And fascism. And communism. And a dictator.
So our independent constitutional party is about inclusiveness. Doesn't matter what ethnic group you are, doesn't matter what race you are, doesn't matter what sex you are, doesn't matter what religion you are.
You know why? Because all people are created equal.
Right. There's no more dividing people into Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, liberals, whatever. We need to get rid of political parties altogether, but I know that will never happen. So stick with us. We have a great plan. Don't be afraid to get off that couch. Don't be that couch potato. Get away from that idiot box that Jack likes to call it. And one day at a time, we can change the history of this America and make it great again. And we're pretty great right now. But there's things that we need to change.
Few things are on that slippery slope.
Yeah, we need to get off that slippery slope. So we got 30 seconds left. So we did good today. So we're under 45 minutes.
Let's go have breakfast.
So remember, fedupwithpolitics.com. Knowledge is power. We'll see you next
Subscribe.
week at the tavern.
Subscribe,
like, and share.
All right.
Get all your friends. Knowledge is power.